President of Mexico initially did not seem receptive to take on the fentanyl crisis with the United States. President Obrador has increasingly said that drugs are a problem of culture. It is personal failings. It is a moral failing. He does not view it as a public health crisis, and he doesn't really have the desire to attack it in the health crisis framework that it needs to in order to be taken seriously.
Really quickly, I'll just say I think this is a political maneuver by Obrador. I think he does this so that he isn't blamed for the drug crisis and the drugs that come out of Mexico. That's all I wanted to say.
No, and I have another part here because Biden did meet with President Obrador and they had conversations about fentanyl and he seemed a little more receptive, but not that receptive. He still there's been no overall cooperation agreements. All he said is that, no, we'll do stuff. Like, we'll do it, right? There's no fundamental thing here. But what Obrador is asking is for the United States to make a more humane legal pathway for immigrants to make it into the United States. He's asking for that. He's asking for the United States to end its embargo of Cuba, which has been going on since the 60s. And he's having a lot of asks here, but it doesn't seem like he's ready yet to really do the things that will make U.S. a reliable partner to him or make the U.S. see him as a reliable partner.
What do you see as those things? Like, what are the things to make him a reliable partner?
So one of the major ones here is Guatemala and Colombia have opened up regional hubs where people can make asylum claims in the hope, and the U.S. likes this because it stops the immigrants from Colombia, from Guatemala, from making the hard trek all the way into the United States and then crossing the border illegally. They can claim asylum where they are. Mexico has so far refused to allow the United States to set up one of these regional asylum claim hubs. If Mexico would do something like that,
that would be good.
That would be fantastic.
Yes.
If they would do a more military attacks on their cartels, that would also be great.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Right?
I do think some of these issues are a little bit disconnected. I think the asylum centers, basically the regional hubs in Mexico and Guatemala and Colombia, yes, they are targeted at preventing so much illegal immigration, undocumented immigration. But we've talked about before how fentanyl comes through at border checkpoints
by U.S. citizens.
Yeah, exactly. It's the problem. The illegal immigrants are rarely the ones bringing the fentanyl into the country. So I'm not sure that would have much effect. I also don't even know if these regional hubs would have much effect, because we've already talked about how we need fundamental change in our immigration system to allow people to get in. Maybe they would think it would give them the hope that they could get in if these hubs existed, right? Because they're kind of symbols that, you can come here and then figure out how to get to the U.S. But I wonder how effective that would be if people actually understood, no, the U.S. is trying to keep you out as much as possible.
Right, and the U.S. takes so many years to get through all their asylum claims, right? Yeah. So the real hope of an asylum seeker in the United States is to get through the border, claim asylum, and then be pending for 3 years while staying in the United States.
Exactly.
Really, right, and then maybe get a work permit after 6 months of being here.
Yes.
But for the fentanyl stuff specifically, the asylum regional hubs won't help with that. The asylum hubs aren't going to help with the fentanyl crisis. Yeah. That would make me view him as a reliable partner.
I see.
But that wouldn't help with the fentanyl crisis.
Yeah.
The stuff with the fentanyl crisis has to be harder crackdowns on the internal cartels, right?
It does.
It has to be.
Yeah.
And he's been somewhat reluctant of taking the cartels head on, which makes the Republicans and the right wing in our country get the opinion that maybe we need to invade Mexico.
Yeah.
And do it ourselves because they're not willing to do it, which I don't agree with. I don't want to break Mexican sovereignty, but that's one of the things that I really think he's got to step up.
Yeah, I agree. And I also have empathy, weirdly enough, because I think in that position, you would be so terrified, right? Like, I'm 100% sure that the cartels are more powerful than the Mexican government.
Oh, sure.
100%, right? Yeah. So if they want to kill you, they'll kill you. and they'll install someone else.
Right.
So it's like it's a very difficult position to be in, where he's trying to appease the U.S., but he's also trying to save his own life.
Yeah.
I think.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And Mexico and the United States have become incredibly close economic partners. Incredibly close. Mexico actually became the top U.S. economic partner in 2023, which accounted for 15% of total U.S. trade. It's just Mexico alone.
Yeah.
That Mexico took the spot of China
Yep.
over the last year. So this is another one of those reasons China is now coming back to the United States and saying, "Oh, we'll deal with the fentanyl crisis. We'll do all this. Start importing our goods again, please." Right?
True. But I will say, I also think a reason for China and Mexico's closing ties is because China's basically going one step up the
Value chain.
Yes, one step up the value chain, up the supply chain, and they're sending the precursor materials for a bunch of these types of goods, clothes, toys, whatever it is, to factories that are now in Mexico making them.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand. Yeah, China definitely has an incentive to break its way into the Mexican relationship. And Mexico and China do have a fairly good relationship because of their ideological sympathies. Mexico is currently run by a left-wing government.
True.
Obrador. And, Xi is trying to exploit that and utilize that against the United States and leverage that. And there's also a lot of geopolitical sympathies, right? Obrador is incredibly supportive of the Cuban regime and wants the United States to break the embargo. Well, that's a position that China holds as well. So it makes a lot of sense that they're seeming to be closening their relationship here.
Yeah.
Biden has done a lot to kind of aid in the root cause problem of the immigration crisis. Biden has given a lot of money in the Biden's root cause strategy is what it's called, U.S. aid, and it has created 90,000 jobs and generated more than $320 million of sales throughout northern Central America. It has reached more than 104,000 individuals and a lot of youth by supporting primary and secondary care. And we've talked about this in the past. This is exactly the type of policies that I think will do the most to stall the increasing amount of immigration into the country, especially the illegal immigration.
I agree. I looked into this a little bit after I saw you write the notes down. This is exactly what I think we should be doing. I'm quite impressed that the Biden administration, it's a hard sell. Right. This is something that can really be attacked. It's like, look at all this money that we're sending to these countries that aren't us, and we're not fixing our own problems. But these are the issues that need to be solved. These are the root causes, right? To prevent a ton of illegal immigration from Central America. So I love this.
No, yeah. If their countries weren't in such economic destitution, they wouldn't be coming here. They would just be staying where they are.
Exactly.
Right. So if we could build it up and we can get 500,000 kids in primary and secondary school,
yeah,
I mean that's the future, right?
That's huge.